Hey you guys, so I decided to do a video on how I rod set my hair. I got into the ocean water yesterday and my hair got a little crazy, so I just put it in a ponytail and kind of like defined the front a little bit. So since this was a rush style, I figured I would like to show you guys how to define your curls with rods, basically doing a rod set. I'm gonna do mine as an updo. We'll see how I feel once I start doing it. I kind of want to do it out, but then I kind of want to do it as updo. I think I'm gonna do it out. How about that? I just changed my mind as we speak. So since I was in the sun, I did get sunburned, so I don't have anything on my face because my skin is real sensitive right now. You can see my back is burnt. It's burnt. Anywho, we're gonna focus, and I'm gonna show you how I do this rod set. I'm gonna go with bigger rods today because I don't want my curls to be too shrunken. I want them to kind of be longer. So all that to say, we're about to get this party started. I hope you guys are excited because I'm excited. Let's go. So I'm gonna start in the back base of my hair. If you have a scrunchie, that's fine. If you have clips, that's fine. Just get your hair in workable sections. So let's get started. So the first section I'm doing is in the back of my head. Right here. Now, generally I would do smaller sections, but today I'm trying to be efficient with time. I may even do need a parting, but I'm trying to show y'all how doing your hair can be very easy. I'm not going to say completely easy, but it doesn't have to be a stressful situation. It could be something that, you just do as a, quick thing, quick situation. So now that my hair is sectioned off, I'm going to go in and put in my product and get it defined. Using the rosemary foam. This is like the honey almond foam, but it is a firmer hold. I'll put that in the back section. Take my section I want to do. Get that out the way. Brush it out. Start with the yellow. Or do I want to start with the pink? I think I'm going to start with the yellow. Rolling it on the ends. Making sure you get that firm hold on the ends. I hope y'all can see that before you start rolling. Once you got that firm hold where the end is covered, you can go down and kind of lock it in like that. That's your first rod. Next one, you're going to do the same thing. Go ahead, section that off, brush your product through, do a little bit more if you need, starting at the ends. You lock it in, roll it until you got coverage, and then you can roll it up. The next one. Another one here. Get this out the way. Get some foam. Brush it through. Get it on the ends, covered. Roll up. And then you use your end of the rod to lock it. Some people might want to go underneath and lock it again. That's up to you. It depends on how you feel. What makes you feel more secure. You can go back up and lock it in if that makes you feel more secure. You gotta do what feels good. Now this one feels like it could be tighter, so I'm gonna kind of roll it closer to my roots and bend this down and underneath to just lock it in. All right, do another one. Slide it on the ends. Detangling is like the most important part of your rod set, because if your ends are tangled and it's not smooth on the rod, it's gonna come out really frizzy. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. I took off my AirPod because I feel like it was a distraction. We'll take that firmly around the ends and roll up. Lock it under if need be. And now we'll move to our next section. And basically, I just go ahead and repeat this process throughout my head. Based off of how you want it to lay, you'll position your rods. And just make sure the size of the rod is based off the size of the curl you want to see. The bigger the rod, the looser the curl. The smaller the rod, the tighter the curl. So use that to help you decide what you want to use. I started going bigger as I started going up my head because I wanted to make sure I had volume in the back. If you want to wrap on the second part of the rod that's there, you can always just use your end wrap to get that coverage by detangling the hair first, of course. Once it's detangled, you take it around the hair, take it around the rod. Like that. I always like to make sure that end is super smooth, kind of like by putting my finger around it. You can also add a little bit more foam to make sure it's fully covered, and then put the end wrap around where your end is and seal that on there. This will help to make sure it's just a smooth end and it's not like fuzzy on the ends. It's kind of like sealing the end of your hair. All right. If you didn't know how to use an end wrap, that's how you use it and why it's important. We'll go through the next section here. I'm gonna do this one real quick because it's in the way anyway. Don't rip through, just take your time. Normally, if the section of hair is smaller, I tend to like to use a smaller rod just so I don't have to stress trying to get it to cover enough times. So make sure I get that end covered and then roll it up. This one right there. And then as we did the last one, we can do the same here where we wrap this hair around this rod. So I can take this section if I want to, since it's so close and I got all this extra rod. Make sure I get some coverage. Make sure it's detangled. And I can put this around here. Get a seal with my fingers to make sure it's on there. And go ahead with my flat end wrap to make sure that it's sealed nice and good. All right. Got another one. And if you're gonna sit under a dryer, it's good to kind of lean the end of the rods down to where you need to be. And after you put on your end wrap, you can also put some foam on top of it to make sure it's latched on there. You see, that didn't help. But if you reseal it with your fingers, it'll help. This one just feels funny. If it doesn't feel held on, keep getting it on until it is. Okay. Because if it's not on, then it defeats the purpose. And then I go back into riding the rest of my head. So just take your time with repeating the steps as I showed you in the beginning and towards the front. You can choose which way of riding works best for you, but I just want to show you two options so you can know how you can ride your hair. Get that end covered. Roll it on top. Roll it all the way up until you can't no more. And then once it's all the way up, you bend that bottom to lock it in. I feel like it could have been a little tighter, so I'm just locking it in a little bit more. And that's it. That is a Flexi rod set. I'm excited for this finish. I'm just rolling this a little bit more because it didn't want to do what I wanted it to do. So that's just gonna sit right there. I kind of tucked it in between so it laid where I wanted it to lay. And that's it. If you see a little fuzzy like this, you kind of want to use your phone to kind of lay it down. Because however it looks, it's going to dry like that. So, and I was going to move this one around, but I'm going to just stick with the way it is because I don't feel like it. We're going to send it in the dryer. I'm going to say at least an hour, probably like an hour and a half. If you did this overnight, with my thick hair, it probably wouldn't dry all the way. If you have finer hair, it's very possible it would dry all the way, but I know who I am. So I'm sending it in the dryer. I'm going to say at least an hour, but it could anywhere be up to an hour and a half. Okay, thanks y'all. Y'all see the after in a little bit. All right, y'all, so I've dried now for about, actually I air dried mostly. I sat in the dryer for like 30 minutes. So I figured I'll take these down real quick before I settle down. I'm using Thermal Seal on my hands to help to eliminate frizz and keep a seal on the curl. So if y'all see me touching something and putting it on my hair, it's this, all right? And then I'm gonna go in and start to separate some. So I always say unravel those that are easiest. Don't try to fight around your hair to get some out that don't feel like they want to slip out easy, because you don't want to cause any unnecessary stress to your hair. So another one. Ooh, it looks like they're coming out good. I'm excited. And you just take out the ones that are easiest to unravel. But so far, I am liking what I am seeing. Liking the stretch we have here. And I just continue to unravel them, taking my time, trying not to rip through the hair. And whenever my fingers start to feel dry or my hair feels a little dry, I'll get some of that Thermal Seal and put it on my hands before I unravel it. Sometimes you'll feel like your strands are kind of caught on the rod. Just take your time. Don't like rip your hair off of the rod, because that's when you have breakage. So definitely use your product to add slip as you unravel. I would say it's the only thing I don't like about Flexi rods. If you roll them and they don't act right, you really got to take your time to make sure you don't rip on your hair. But once you get the flow of it, you'll figure out how to unravel your hair without causing any unnecessary stress to it. But you'll see up close on how I just take it apart from the rod and how I'm like being gentle to get those little strands off. I'm kind of rubbing my fingers on it to get it off instead of just like pulling on it really hard, because those little strands are normally around the hairline and you don't want to be missing edges and have weak edges if you can avoid that, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm continuing that process throughout my hair, taking those rods off and just making sure that, you know, I keep that Thermal Seal on my hands. If you don't have Thermal Seal, you can use oil, but the Thermal Seal is humidity resistant, and it helps to get rid of frizz, and it just adds a seal to the hair. So that's really important with taking out your curls. I get more on my hands when I separate it. A serum will also be good too if you wanted to use that, because serums add seals onto your hair to keep the shine. So depending on what you have, oil and serum will also work, but the Thermal Seal is by far my favorite product to use to separate my curls. But yeah, y'all see I'm very heavy with the Thermal Seal on my hands. Like, that is not something that I am skimp on, because it makes a huge difference in the finish and the shine my hair has. But you try what product works for you. And just try to lay any area that looks frizzy by just twirling it around your finger. Give it a little bit of seal. But that's it. It did what it was supposed to do. Okay. All right. Let's go. Easy peasy. Now, don't overthink it if yours doesn't look exactly this way, because that can always vary depending on what product you use, what size rod you use, and your hair texture. So, all that to say, have some grace with yourself, be patient. Practice makes a lot better. I will never say perfect because that doesn't exist. But after you're done and you've separated all your curls, it's up to you now to play with it, fluff it, give it the look that you want to see. I'm a vintage kind of girl. I like for my hair to not look too perfect or, you know, too wild. Like, vintage beauty is my go-to. So all that to say, I like the look that I ended up getting. But play around with yours to get what you want. I wanted y'all to see the movement, the volume on my hair, because it is serving, let me tell you. I think it did what it was supposed to do, y'all. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and comment if this video was helpful to you. Love you guys.